When I first started my YouTube channel, the premise of it was to mock some of the people that come onto YouTube and make these videos where they feel that having the portal to everyone's computer gives them a good reason to, well, say stupid things and be jackasses. And I have created the Canadian Editor YouTube channel to kind of point that these people are out there and embarrass them and pwn them and make them look as ridiculous as they truly are. And I've not made many friends because of that approach, but I have made some entertaining videos, and if nothing else, I think I've proven that YouTube is kind of silly, and in some ways people get a little too excited by it. But I never thought I'd actually have to mock someone that actually works for me and for Something Cool News. Chris Alexander is a contributor to Something Cool News, a good friend of mine, and this past week he posted a video on his YouTube channel and on my website about it's called Humour and Decapitation. Let's just put it like that. That title should say everything to you right there. You know, now I'm someone who is not easily offended, and I'm not easily annoyed or upset. But Chris, I think here, and I have some of his co-workers here will back me up on this, as you will soon find out. Chris, I think, perhaps crossed the line with one of his most recent blog, where he suggests, well, I'll tell you what, I'll let you put it in, as is my way, I'll let him put it in his own words, so you can hear what it is that he said, and you can understand my stance better.
That the public is very aware.
I should premise that this is all about that Greyhound bus incident that took place where the man was decapitated and killed, as a matter of fact, and Chris found an interesting way of looking at it.
This is a big deal, people are talking about it, and I think it's fair to say that there's a definite kind of voyeuristic sort of interest in it, a kind of killer instinct that's coming to the forefront in people where they just can't stop talking about it even though they're completely horrified by it.
I agree.
And yet they always talk about the gruesome particulars of it.
This makes sense.
So anyways, all of this sort of thing made me feel, well, this is, you know, a prime opportunity to make some jokes about it.
To make, I'm sorry, jokes about it? Hey, someone got killed. It's a good time to make a joke. Well, Chris, I'm sure that's funny to you and for the rest of the minimum wage job earners that you work with who are trying to take morality classes in university and can barely function without living in their parents' basement. But the fact of the matter stands that to you and your friends this was funny, and you thought that it would be a good idea to make some jokes about it. Well, let me share with you folks what this joke Chris thought was so amusing was.
Kind of a water cooler subject. And I said, how long do you think it'll take before we start cracking jokes about this? How long before someone just says the word decapitation with, you know, not in reference to this particular event? And one of my good friends at work said, probably about 5 to 10 minutes. Yeah, it turns out it was about 3. Someone was walking by me and he had this long white thread dangling off of his shirt and trailing behind him like a streamer. And I walked into it, and it went across my neck. And I said, "What the hell are you trying to do? You trying to decapitate me?" And
no, that doesn't work for me. That is not funny. You want to hear a good joke? Here's a good joke. What did the pea say to the apple? Guess I'll see you later. That's a joke. This thing, hey, your little joke. Hey, do you want to see who's going to be decapitated?
It turns out it was
not funny.
3.
Not funny.
Someone
Is this funny?
was walking by me, and he had this long white thread dangling off of his shirt and trailing behind him like a streamer. And I walked into it, and it went across my neck. And I said, "What the hell are you trying to do? You trying to decapitate me?"
There's no comparison. Your joke is about mocking someone's death. My joke is about a overexcited pea. I'm sorry. This is the problem when you get people who, you know, think they are superior when they look down their noses at us and think they can think, oh, well, we'll just mock your pain. I gotta say, Chris, that just doesn't work for me. Being a sophisticated person who actually knows how to use a salad fork, I don't find your joke about the gruesome decapitation of another human being amusing. Nor do I find, I'm sure, I'm going to be alone on this, because apparently one of Chris's co-workers also found it upsetting, so much so she kind of complained about it. And Chris tried to make some sort of, as is his way, because he likes to twist words around and try and make everything seem like a giant conspiracy against him. The fact of the matter is, he tried to suggest that this woman was only angry because she lived in the prairies, and this was really why she was mad. Not because Chris had said a stupid joke and made a fool of himself, but because this woman lived in the area and she was just contriving this whole thing up, and because she needed to get upset. And I think Chris said she just needed something to get angry at to feel important, or something, some ludicrous babaloo like that. Preposterous, utterly preposterous. The reason she got upset, Chris, because your joke was horrible, and she has every right to be upset. I'm upset. I'm sure all the Something Cool News readers are upset. And, I'm sure people in Quebec are upset by this, because no matter what province you tell this joke in, it's going to be offensive. Even the most offensive province in the world, Quebec, will find this joke offensive, and rightfully so. And you're trying to decapitate me? No. You know what? That is something that I would expect to come out of someone with a far less superior intellect than you, Chris, and I think you should be ashamed of coming up with such a ridiculous joke. But you do get a point for some redemption, because later on in your video, if I even want to give it that kind of prestigious name, you do, in fact, make up for your gaffe by saying this.
Putting myself on the pedestal as being a comedian, in the sense that George Carlin is a comedian, but I'm a comedian in the sense that I'm a guy who tells jokes. Most of them are bad and not particularly funny, but they make me laugh. So, I mean, in that regard, I think I qualify.
So at least you'll be able to admit that you're not a very good comedian, that your jokes are not funny, and they only make you laugh, which is great. Unfortunately, if they're only making you laugh, one has to ask why you're telling such ridiculous jokes to an internet audience who is got many more important things to do, like listening to me talk about the Fred factor, about important issues like homelessness, poverty, and the eradication of dangerous text messaging. Anyway, this is... obviously, I mean, I don't expect Chris to disagree or to agree with me, because usually he has his own ridiculous and preposterous views on things, and I'm sure he'll get all up in arms about this and suggest that I have no sense of humor, and that I'm a fuddy-duddy, and that I'm too old to understand humor. But, I told a good joke earlier, the one about the overexcited pea. That was funny, and I think the majority of Something Cool News readers will enjoy that joke far more than your joke about being decapitated 2 weeks after someone had that exact thing happen to them on a bus and had their flesh eaten in front of a bunch of other people. You are, Chris, you've embarrassed yourself here, and frankly, you need to make some sort of amends to it. So I will be waiting with the rest of the internet audience for you to post some kind of apology, some sort of explanation, and perhaps, if you can manage it, which is unlikely because it is you after all, perhaps a good joke for a change. Unreal.